session right after the chanting. So the reason why we are doing this is to know how much you are involved and how you see the difference between what you have learned before and coming into this Newah Buddhism Sangha. So if you have some questions, you can ask later on. If you understand the question, then please answer what I ask you. So it will be recorded, and if the quality turn out good, so we will put that into YouTube and also live. So a lot of people will watch what I ask and what you answer. So this is going to be some kind of a spreading the Newah Buddhism to the world, that people listening to your answer, and then more people will join together later on. So we just started this session from the last month. And a lot of people wanted to join and listen to what you answer. So we are already done about 8 people, and we will continue to do more and more when they come to join in this Sangha. So right now I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 people are here right now. So definitely it's a good number of people we are seeing. So who wants to go first, Alex or Riaz? You raise your hand. I don't want to. Okay, Alex. So the reason now you understood why we are doing this, right?
Yeah.
And then all other mute, please. So I see everybody is mute. So my first question to you, since you are already involved with Bihara and you also doing the Nitya Puja, and then I want to just record few sentences about you and your full name and where you're from and how long you have been connected with Niti Mandal Bihara, or how long you have known to Prajula. So this is just a couple of minutes you can answer. This is my question to you. So please introduce yourself and where you're from and how long you have been in Portland and how long you are connected with the Buddha Bihara, Niti Mandala Bihara. And then the next question, then I will ask for more other activities. Please go ahead, about a couple of minutes. Your turn, go ahead.
My name is Aleksey Dobryy. I'm originally from former Soviet Union. I moved to US in 1993, and since that I started studying and practicing Vajrayana Buddhism in Tibetan tradition. 13 years ago I moved to Portland, and since I was always interested in finding roots of Tibetan Buddhism and how it was supposed to be sounded, all those prayers and mantras in original language Sanskrit, I was researching. I was surprised to find out that such tradition is still preserved. Everything Sanskrit still exists, and it is a Nepalese version of Vajrayana Buddhism. And I was very excited to discover that the only temple at the US which exists, it is literally several blocks from my house. And I first visited Vihara, then I introduced myself to Acharya Pajval, and slowly was incorporating to studying Newari Buddhism, doing morning rituals and studying this tradition. So that's all.
So before you come to US, you were also practicing Buddhism in the Soviet Union?
I was reading some books, but since there were no gurus or acharyas available in my area, so I was just reading books. But when I moved to New York, literally in half year, I just by accident found one flyer about teaching of Tibetan Vajrayana Buddhism. I went to that place, and since that time I was practicing on a regular basis. So it's more than 25 years already.
So you have been practicing Buddhism for 25 years, right?
Yeah, approximately. Yeah.
Okay, that was a long time. So probably, so you must have learned quite a bit about Buddhism, already in the Tibetan side, and also you were involved studying Buddhism when you were in Soviet Union, and you have already spent 25 years in the study. So when you came to know this Bihara, and no Prajal, you already have a background of study of Buddhism on the other sector, like Tibetan Buddhism and things like that. So when you come to know about this temple and about this Bihara, what was your first impression that, wow, this is something different than what you have seen before, or there's some kind of a similarity or anything? Would you like to say something about this? So when you come to Bihara first time, what was your impression at the time?
I was always wondering about how Vajrayana Buddhism would look like in India if it still exists over there. And I was surprised to find out that in Nepal it's like giving glimpses how Vajrayana Buddhism used to be practiced in India. And one of the most impressive parts for me personally was chanting in Sanskrit. I was really impressed because previously I have been heard a lot of chanting in Tibetan language, but it wasn't touching me so deeply as chanting in Sanskrit.
So historically, yes, the Sanskrit-based Buddhism, the Mahayana Buddhism, Vajrayana Buddhism, is no longer practiced in India anywhere. But the Tibetan Buddhism is practiced almost everywhere in India and some part of Tibet and also in China and other parts of the Western countries. But this Buddhism, which is based on the Sanskrit language, is only practiced in Nepal only. But in some other countries, there's no more. If you go to Sri Lanka, they use the Pali language. If you go to Burma, they use the Pali language. If you go to Thailand, they use the Pali related with the Thai verses. So similarly in Japanese, they have the Japanese, Buddhism. But in Nepal, so we practice based on the Sanskrit language. So Sanskrit language based Buddhism is only practiced in Nepal and then only by the Newah people. So the Newah people are the core inhabitant of Nepal Mandala. When I say Nepal Mandala, it was only these days called the Kathmandu Valley. So Kathmandu Valley was used to known as Nepal Mandala. So during the 2000, about 2000 years ago, when there was some kind of a political conflict happened, and a lot of Buddhist people from Kapilavastu and some other places moved to Himalayas. So that Himalayas was the Nepal Mandala at the time. So now, from that time, the Buddhism, based on Sanskrit, is still practicing right now. So this is what is called Nepalese Buddhism or the Newah Buddhism. So this is the same thing. Okay, so thank you for giving me your understanding of the Newah Buddhism at the time. So in Nitya Mandala Mahabhyara, you also doing the Nitya Puja or the daily ritual, right?
Yes.
So how long you have been doing this?
Oh, well, for a long time. I believe more than 5 years, maybe 6 years.
6 years. So when you started on the first day, so how was your how was it? Was it difficult or was it not a problem? I can do it, or maybe something you were confused? Or how was your first day of doing the ritual at the time? What was your impression at the time?
The hardest part was chanting long prayers during puja in Sanskrit. Even having Romanized transliteration, it was still kind of difficult to repeat long words and phrases, so it was the most challenging part. But rituals otherwise were more or less similar to what I saw in Tibetan Buddhism.
So then how can we make it easy for you?
Oh, well, just repeating it several hundred times over those 6 years and became much easier.
So if we put the words into smaller phrases, it will be easier for you to chant, or doesn't matter?
I believe if you divide long words into roots of those words, it will be much easier to understand and read it. Because if there is one word for whole line, it's very hard to divide it in chunks without really knowing well.
Yes. Sanskrit language is called the divine language and also the natural language. So the natural language has a flow, and there is a one whole sentence, maybe about 25 words, but there's no break.
Yes, that's
So
a
that's the Sanskrit language, because it goes so easy flow, and when there's no phrases broken down into smaller pieces, it's not easy to pronounce. So usually when we do in the Devanagari, so it's easy for us to, because in Romanized, you have to break the consonant and vowel together, break into consonant and vowel. But in Devanagari, when we chant in Devanagari, consonant and vowel, they come together. But in Romanized, it has to be separate. So that's why it is difficult for you. Maybe someday you will have a sense of understanding how the Sanskrit language is being, pronounced and also, chanted. So it will make you easy for you. So in a very short minute, maybe a couple of minutes, how do you describe Newah Buddhism? Since you already have 25 years of study of Buddhism in the energy sector and also from your Soviet Union study, how do you describe Newah Buddhism? This is Newah Buddhism. How do you describe, just a very few minutes, so how do you describe that from your understanding?
From my perspective, if a person is looking for a root of Vajrayana Buddhism and he is trying to understand the root of many rituals which are available in Chinese, Japanese, or Tibetan versions of Vajrayana, he's supposed to look into a tradition which gave birth to all those traditions. And the only authentic tradition which preserves everything in original language of Vajrayana, it's Newah Buddhism. Because
So since you understood so much about the Newah Buddhism, do you think you will be able to teach other Russian people?
After guidance of Acharya Prajwal and his permissions only.
Yeah, I think if Prajwal is giving you permission to, okay, because you have been studying so much, right, from more than 25 years, you can teach in your own language, in the Russian language, to the other people so that they also understand what is this all about. Is there, can you do it, or you are not, you are not able to do it, sir? Maybe someday we will bring all your friends, Russian friends. You can speak in Russian and then we listen how you teach it. Maybe invite all your friends. When the pandemic is over, you can invite all your friends to the Bihara, and then they show you show the Bihara, and then you also show how the daily ritual is done, so that we can spread out Newah Buddhism to more and more Russian community. Is that possible or not?
Yes, but I believe first should be laid firm foundation in explaining foundation of Mahayana and meaning those rituals, and it should be in gradual way, not just throwing people into tradition and let's see if they're going to swim or not.
That you can take your time. So last week I attended the Newah Language International Conference every day for 6 days, 7 days straight. And there were more and more Russian people who came to join in the international conference. And one of them were from the region, I don't know what a province in the Soviet Union. And he was saying that more and more people in her area is all Buddhist. I did not know about it. What region is that? Do you know?
It could be either Kalmykia or Buryatia. It's hard to say.
Yeah, I'm interested to, invite more people from that area and know how they practice and what kind of Buddhism they are practicing, all the things I want to know. Maybe you can make me connection with all those people. They can come to Zoom someday like this. And then maybe the time permits, so maybe someday down the road, because this one we do every Tuesday at this time. If they can come, it would be better. Okay, thank you for giving me your insight regarding your involvement in the Diti Mandala Mahavihara, and also your insight on doing the daily ritual, and your knowledge on what you have been studying right now. So thank you so much. And this is all I have for you. Thanks for joining us. This is good. So very good. See that, everybody has their own way of, studying the Buddhism and then so express what you have learned. This is great. So I really like to thank you. I appreciate your few words. Thank you. Thank you, Alex. Now I move on to Riaz.
Alex also does the not only the rituals, he also perform the Guru Mandala Puja as well as the Guru kind of Bajracharya way. So he's been practicing that as well. So just want to add it.
Very good, very good. Okay. Okay, so turning to Riaz, please unmute Alex. Hi, how are you?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How about you?
Yeah, I can hear. Thank you.
So same kind of a question I asked to Alex, that the beginning is kind of like giving your introduction, and then how long you have been involved, or maybe where you're from. So those questions are very simple. Can you give your introduction, please?
Yeah, so I'm so basically I'm like an apprentice in like the Shingon tradition. It's a Japanese Vajrayana basically. But yeah, but actually I heard about this lineage, your lineage, when I first started learning about Buddhism, but I had no idea that like there was a temple in America, much less in like the Northwest. I thought, you know, that must be in Nepal only. But once I realized that there was a temple in Portland, I was, you know, I wanted to, you know, go see it and uh, get it, learn a little bit. And also, I'm a dancer, basically, like a street dance I do. So after I learned that it's kind of like a dance meditation, I was like really excited to learn about that. So yeah.
Could you say that your name one more time, please?
Yeah. So my name is Riaz, Riaz Khan.
And where do you live?
Oh, sorry. I live in Seattle,
Seattle, Washington,
Seattle, Washington. Right.
United States, right?
Yeah, United States. Yeah.
So how long you have been studying Buddhism?
About 5 years,
5
formally.
years.
Formally, yeah, maybe.
Bef- before that, did you knew anything about Buddhism, or you just started learning from 5 years ago?
I for like a year, I've just read books and things online, and then I found a temple in
And
Seattle.
what made you attract to study the Buddhism? Is there any significant incidents, or somebody told you, or somebody inspired you, or how you got involved in study of Buddhism then?
No, I just had a lot of problems like depression and things like that. So I just wanted to like solve my problems, and I felt that Buddhism had the answers.
So after you learn Buddhism, that you solve your problem.
Well, definitely a lot better, but it's an endless journey. So and right now it's tough time. So
Would you mind sharing what was the problem, so that you have achieved from coming into study of Buddhism? You don't have to if you don't want to. If you don't want to, I'm just curious
Yeah.
that what kind of problem we can solve. What kind of problem a human being who has so many different problems in their lives, right? So maybe
Yeah.
coming into the study of Buddhism can also be some kind of a treatment, as a mental health treatment for the people who are getting into a different direction. So that's why I'm kind of curious. So if you feel comfortable, otherwise you don't need to. But if you feel comfortable, please. What was the problem you were facing at the time, 5 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so it's good, interesting and useful to talk about. So I guess, but so I mean, uh, well, I guess at the time I was in college and I wasn't doing well in school, for example, and I basically, had no plan for my life or anything. So, and I wasn't seeing any like I don't know, like, uh, how to fulfill my, how to become happy or, you know, and I didn't see any way I could fulfill my desires, and then, so, reading about Buddhism, which tells you that, it's okay, you don't have to be successful or like, you can't fulfill your desires. I felt that, a lot of it is true, and it gave me hope to like find fulfillment in my life. Yeah. So I guess like the basic teachings, about attachment and desire and, not finding a way to move forward even without fulfilling your desires. those sorts of things helped me. And yeah, and I mean, I think a lot of it is also working through your trauma. I think that's what a lot of people talk about nowadays. Is working through your trauma. In the West, they talk about that. So dealing with my mother had like depression, and like there's some mental on my father's side. There's some mental problems too. So helped me to work through those things, I think.
Yeah, thank you for sharing your personal view. So definitely, Buddhism is a kind of treatment for people who are suffering from this, kind of situation. So definitely, I have met so many people, and not only you are not alone. That I have met so many people. They have some problem with their life, how to move forward and how to achieve in their life, and how to put a goal and then achieve that goal. So those things are very important for being alive. So not just only because the Western side of the world is very much materialistic. So materialistic life kind of put into your desire never end. Your
Right.
desire never end. One after another, one after another. That's what is called the dukkha in Sanskrit. So dukkha is always there. Dukkha can be together with you all the time. When you kill one dukkha, and it will be another dukkha. So that's the desire. So desire is the one of the most problematic in our human life. So but once you achieve that dukkha, once you achieve that one desire, and then there's another germination of another production of another desire. It's always go on and on and on. So the people who have some suffering in their lives, always go into a study of Buddhism, and then they give some remedy, they give some treatment for those kind of things. So, and you are also one of the good example to let the people know that here you go, you have done so much work in Buddhism, and then now you are come back into the normal life as the other people around over there. So anyway, thank you for giving your insight on your life, what you have been going through, all these things. So from the point of view, you have already studied 5 years in Buddhism, being in Seattle, and also now you learn about the New Buddhism, Nepalese Buddhism, or maybe the Mahayana Buddhism also exists in the U.S. So when you heard about this, the Nityananda Mahavihara in Portland, Oregon, so what was your first impression when you saw? Were you very happy, or were you curious, or were you maybe you cannot achieve what you are looking for, or maybe was there any kind of disturbance in your understanding that whether you'll be able to come to this point that you can explain what you have learned? Is there anything it was difficult for you, like a barrier or something at the time when you learn about this temple, when you learn about this Bihara?
I'd say I was like pretty excited because as I think his name is Aleksey. He explained I think a lot of people are looking for this type of Buddhism, which is kind of like more of a continuation of like how it was in India, in India, and preserving the Sanskrit. But just I think a lot of people, including me, just didn't know that it exists. So so I think I was just excited, and also that it has dance too. So
okay.
yeah.
So have you learned any Charya dance also?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to learn. Now Prajwal, I'm grateful he's offering lots of classes. So
are you able to read Sanskrit?
Oh, so now I'm because of these classes I'm trying to learn now. I took it's like awakening the subtle body class, and then after that I was like, oh, I guess I need to learn Sanskrit, and then the chanting I realized like you can't just read the Roman characters. So then I was like, oh, I guess I need to start learning Sanskrit. So now I'm trying to.
That's great. So until now, so do you think that you have achieved what you are looking for 5 years ago until now?
Yeah, I mean, partially, but I mean, like, yeah, partially, um, but I mean, it's hard. It's hard to be a normal person, even so. So I mean, you know.
Is there any difficult at this moment to concentrate on what you are looking for in this Buddhism?
Oh, in Newah Buddhism particularly.
Yeah, this one, the one we are talking about, Newah Buddhism.
Yeah, I mean, I just wish I want to, you know, come more regularly after this Corona is over. You know, I want to. I don't have a car right now, so hopefully buy a car, and you know, I want to come more regularly. So that's about it. Just the distance, maybe.
So is there anything that you want to express what I did not ask you? What you have something in your mind want to say, but I did not ask you. Is there anything you want to say regarding this Newah Buddhism?
Well, I guess like one thing I like about this tradition is just like it's a small thing, but like I think about like the Prajwal talked about like the three bangas, yeah, and like I think about how like that's kind of unique, the postural elements in this tradition. Like in other Buddhist traditions, you're always like super straight. So I like that aspect of the, you know, the three bangas.
Do you think after you learn Sanskrit, do you think you will be able to do the chanting also by yourself?
I mean, I want to, but you know, just like
Like you know, we have a person who does the chariot dance, you know, chariot dance, singing,
right.
those kind of things. So do you think you will be able to do that in the future or what?
Oh, you mean like Joshua? Or,
Yeah.
Well, he's
just curious, you know.
Well, I'll try, but he's very good, so so maybe I'm not as good as him. But
okay, so I'm gonna turn on to Prajwal if he has any question for you to ask. So Prajwal, do you have any question for him? Otherwise, I'm done with him. So
yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, he's doing really amazing job. He comes every 10-year anniversary. Oh, every years basically, any anniversary. You know, he comes here and they be here, so be the, you know, part of the Homo Puja also chanting. So that's so lovely to see him always. So, yeah, and then he's, you know, part of my every teaching, so he's always be there too. So
okay, let's do the on recording and we talk about it.